right. Welcome to Childsplay with Sam Kim. Today we're joined by George and Ian from Discotech. Discotech has been disrupting the nightlife industry by allowing nightlife to become easier for the general public. You can find events and book tables to make sure you're getting the best price to see your favorite DJ or concert. And you can find them on Instagram at Discotech app, as well as download their app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell me, where are you guys two from? And when did you guys move to LA?
Yeah, I was born in Beijing, China.
Okay.
And I immigrated to the U.S. When I was 3 years old to the Midwest,
Gotcha.
Indiana specifically. Small college town. Nothing doing in Indiana. Don't ever go. And I moved out to LA in 2016, so I've been here for 4 years.
Been here for 4 years. What about you? Yeah.
Born and raised in a suburb called Potomac, Maryland.
Okay.
So spent first 18 years there. It was real comfortable. I moved to Berkeley to go to college,
Gotcha.
and then I lived in SF for a couple years where I was working as a consultant. And then the move to LA came 2010, I guess, when I was switching from management consulting to the private equity industry.
Got it.
So I came here for work, and then kind of stayed.
Yeah, so you've been here ever since college, pretty much.
There was a little bit moving. I moved back to San Francisco for a year, which is actually where we started Discotech.
Got it.
And then we also spent 9 months living in Las Vegas, which is our biggest market. So.
Interesting. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when and how was Discotech founded?
Yeah, so our genesis was in 2013.
Okay.
And the idea for Discotech came to us to me and my co-founders from the customer's perspective.
Got it.
So when we were in our slightly beyond mid 20s, we were honestly just partying a lot.
Yeah.
YOLOing,
Right,
doing that whole thing. Traveling around the country, chasing raves, and going to parties with our friends. And we just found it really hard for ourselves as customers to spend money. And we came to the realization that it should never be so hard for willing customers to depart with their money to businesses.
Right.
And so we asked ourselves, there's got to be an easier way to go out than to call or text local human promoters. And so we were inspired by other companies that were already disrupting their industries. So like OpenTable for restaurants, Booking.com, Expedia, Kayak for the travel industry. And so we said, hey, we can just copy this business model and do the same thing for nightlife.
Understood. That makes sense. That's actually pretty cool how y'all thought of that, though.
Yeah.
So how was the name Discotech decided on?
Yeah, so I gotta give credit to my co-founder Mark, who came up with that. But in the beginning, we were just brainstorming a ton of names, and it took months before we settled on the actual name.
Got it.
We were still working on the product, still trying to build out the company. We just didn't have a formal name for it. But Discotech was really great because the word discoteca is how you say club in South America and Europe. And for us, at our core, we're a technology company.
Yeah.
So disco, tech.
Yeah, so that's how you brought it together.
It was a natural fit.
So I guess starting from then and now, how many people are on your team?
Yeah, so kind of with the whole COVID thing, we recently had a serious number of furloughs. But right now, our core team is 9. We do have some contractors, some people working part-time.
Got it.
On top of that, but
makes sense.
We've had to reduce things given kind of the state of the nightlife industry right now.
Exactly. How it is everywhere right now, right?
And I think it's disproportionately impacting our business,
right? Because
nightlife's completely shut down, and likely will be one of the latter things to return.
Right. Because the number of folks could enter an event, that all.
And you have people shouting at each other, getting intimate, getting close. It's just a hotbed for spreading COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right.
Yeah.
But what's the mission, I guess, for Discotech?
Yeah, so it's really simple. I mean, we set out to solve a problem that we were facing as consumers, right? So our mission is really just to make it easier for people to go out and have fun, right? We're not curing cancer, we're not saving lives, but helping people go out, have a good time, enjoy themselves. Life's hard enough. We believe this to be a noble cause.
Gotcha. No, for sure. I think if anything, you guys are definitely at least curing. You could be curing someone's bad day, depression, breakup, whatever, etc. Right? Anything.
Been there.
Yeah.
And you've been a user of Discotech for quite a while now.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah, I've used it. When I went to Vegas, for sure. Yeah, so it definitely works.
We save people money too, right?
Yeah, it saves people time.
Yeah,
it's the comfort,
effort.
Right.
and a lot of times we'll have like discounted ticket prices, we'll have free guest lists. A lot of times people don't know that they have access to these things.
Right,
We just democratize that experience.
Yeah, and I would say for myself, just as a user, just transparency of things, right? Because at the end of the day, like if you're going through a promoter at certain times, they're gonna hide certain costs, right? Or at least try to do it where they're benefiting at the end. Whereas if it's transparent, then you know the end costs, right? For every fee or processing fee you're paying for. So kudos to you guys for that.
Thanks.
So what would you say, I guess, is a long-term vision for the company?
Yeah, so down the road, so first and foremost, our goal right now is to grow. Right? We want to gain scale. We want to become a big name and just a solution for a lot of people to use. Vision though, I do see us. The hope is that we get acquired by a larger company,
right.
And then whether it's ourselves or whoever else continues it, that it just continues to grow. Right? We want Discotech to continue helping people, changing lives for many years to come. But for ourselves, at some point, we're looking for an exit, like most entrepreneurs.
Right. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So George, when did you join the company?
Yeah, I joined Discotech April of 2018.
Okay.
It's actually this story is of how I met Ian. It's actually one of my favorite stories. It's very serendipitous. It's
good.
Should I tell it now or later?
Yeah, you can tell it now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll backtrack a little bit.
Nice
So,
SAT word though. Serendipitous.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So I studied biomedical engineering in college at Case Western, in the Midwest. Did a couple internships, realized I didn't like that. So I moved out to LA in 2016 to work in the supply chain industry.
Got it.
Similar to Ian, I kind of just hated my life. So on a whim, I decided to quit in January of 2018. And then I booked a round trip flight to Thailand. I had solo traveled to Peru before, and
Got it.
I always just wanted to, check out Thailand, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Phuket, all those areas. So I booked my flight, and then it was a Sunday night, like the night before my flight. I was just in bed, watching YouTube videos, entertainment, like we all do.
Yeah, right.
And in my recommended videos feed, I saw a video of a guy giving a speech at his friend's wedding. He was the best man.
Okay.
But it was really cool because as the best man, the speech was a PowerPoint presentation, and he tailored it so that the bride and groom, getting together is synonymous with a company merger, because this guy used to work in private equity.
Okay, that's how you did it.
Dude, he killed the speech. The speech right now has over 2 million views, I think.
Oh, what's the speech called?
I think if you just look up best man presentation, it
Best
should be
man
the
presentation.
first thing.
Okay.
Anyway,
Best man presentation YouTube clip. Check it out. Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea why it was recommended to me in my YouTube feed.
Right.
I don't watch wedding videos, best man videos.
So random.
I watched it and he absolutely killed it. It was amazing, super charismatic, and I was like, damn, who's this guy? I gotta find out who this guy is. So naturally, I just decided to reach out to Ian the night before my flight. Literally, I couldn't make this up.
Right.
And I was like, hey, you don't know who I am, but I saw your video. It was amazing. I'm actually a user of Discotech. Are you guys hiring? I just quit my job. And he messaged me the next day saying actually we are hiring. And I was like, hey, I'm booking a trip to Thailand, but when I come back, I'd love to come meet you. So I went to Thailand and came back. I had a couple other job offers lined up. I was almost about to move to San Francisco to work for Airbnb.
Okay.
I was in operations, right?
Right.
But I never forgot about Discotech. That was my last interview. Right?
I remember you telling me about it.
Yeah.
We were talking about it actually while you were going through interviews. Yeah, I remember us talking about it.
Yeah, so I met up with Ian at a Phil's Coffee in Hollywood. And we just hit it off, great chemistry, everything clicked. And then I came over to this house over there, and in the living area, did a group interview with the guys, loved it, got along with everyone. So I was like, yeah, this is a no-brainer.
Right.
And so I joined Discotech, and it's been, the rest is history. Been here for 2.5 years.
No, that's a very interesting story. Actually.
Honestly,
something that usually should never happen.
Yeah, I
recommended YouTube clip. That's hilarious.
It's so random.
Yeah,
it's still absurd, how that video popped up in my recommended feed.
Right.
I watch stuff on finance or all that kind of stuff, but not wedding videos.
No, of course.
So honestly, it's split-second decisions you make. If Ian didn't choose to give that speech, or if they didn't choose to film that video, we wouldn't be doing this.
He would have looked at that LinkedIn and it's who's this crazy ass dude trying to talk to me through LinkedIn?
He's this creeper Asian guy.
Yeah, that's okay. So how has your role, I guess, grown since you've joined Discotech?
Yeah, so I started off as operations manager here, mainly taking care of like client requests. You know, a lot of high spenders are booking tables at clubs.
Right.
They need their handheld. They're spending upwards of like 5, 10, 10K sometimes.
Right.
And then my role really, blossomed. 2.5 years later, I'm the current director of ops.
Okay.
I wear a lot of different hats, ranging from customer success to business development and sales to accounting to marketing. To business development.
Everything.
Yeah,
It's a small team.
I enjoy spinning a lot of plates, which comes with the territory of working for a startup like this. So, it's a lot of freedom and autonomy that I get. So, definitely really enjoy it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, all over the place.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. It makes sense. Startup vibes.
Yeah,
that's
for
cool.
sure.
So I guess, Ian, how'd you feel when the app first launched?
When we started the company, we were very excited.
Yeah.
Right, because this is something we truly believed in,
Right.
and we're like, we are the smartest people ever because we're gonna like turn like nightlife and clubbing into like our job. Right. So we were very gung ho about it, but when the app actually first launched, it was like kind of a nightmare.
Right.
Like no downloads. I remember like myself and two of my co-founders actually were walking around LA, going to different nightclubs and handing out like promo cards.
Right.
Like, hey, like download Discotech, get a free bottle of champagne on your booking, and like all this stuff. We were talking to like hundreds of people, and they're like, yeah, well, we're gonna download your app. And without any exaggeration, like we would go back and like the next day we would check how many downloads we got, and it was like 0.
Oh, okay.
So like literally like nothing, and we're just like, oh my god, like what is going on? Because we've already invested a lot of time in developing the app, getting clubs to sign up to be on our platform. But it was just like, it was slow. It was very slow in the beginning, but steady. Right. We started to get some downloads. We like got our first customers. We like made them happy. We started advertising on like, in the beginning, back in the day, we were advertising on Facebook before it was prohibitively expensive to do so. And we just like slowly, just one day at a time.
So what's your process behind growing Discotech for the years to come to stay relevant, right?
Yeah, so in the beginning, we had to rely on guerrilla tactics.
Okay.
Right? Like we even hired like attractive ladies off of like Craigslist to go around promoting cars at
the
clubs.
back pages.
Like we interviewed them and like, see it, like we're like, hey, sell me on something.
Right.
We did use like Facebook advertising. This was like even before Instagram.
Got it.
Was a thing. This was like 2013.
Got it.
But for us, the biggest two drivers of our growth have been one, just organic, right? Just word of mouth. Our customers have a good experience. It's way easier than going to a promoter, and they'll talk about it. Right. Referrals, like that's number one.
Okay.
And then number two for us has been SEO, so search engine optimization. Gotta give kudos to my team for just doing a really great job of creating a lot of like content, stuff that people are organically searching for. So when people have questions about nightlife or they're searching for pricing or information, Discotech just does
naturally
well
comes up
on Google. Algorithms.
Interesting. Gotcha. So what do you think your unique skills are that made you successful thus far?
Unique skill set. I would say there's two things predominantly. The first is I'm naturally an optimist. Like I'm just born that way. I believe bad things happen. I'm like, it'll be fine. So I think that's critical because through our journey, we've been just shat on by fate many times, so many times. And I think it makes it easier if you're optimistic. And then secondly, I think it's just like toughness or grit. And I'll be honest about that. Like again, it's like when bad things happen, it's it's hard to get out of bed sometimes. We've been doing this for 7 years, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but just not giving up. Being tough and just making it through, working through it.
Got it.
Working through the pain.
I can attest to Ian being a consummate optimist. Like when things are like when shit's hitting the fan, like Ian's always there to like pick us up. So kudos to Ian for being fearless and great leader. Honestly,
thank you.
That's good. So what I said. So far, what's your biggest failure and what you learned from that?
Yeah. So there's a lot. Like there are a lot of failures that we made a lot of mistakes along the way. We learned from it, and if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here today. And I would say that we've had a lot of competitors. A lot of people have tried to build out this app, and they're all dead. They're all gone. And so for whatever reason, we've done some things right to stay alive. But personally, I would say that the two things that were big that impacted us was one, like the team that we initially started out with wasn't the right team per se. So we had co-founders who joined us who didn't last, right? Whether they didn't really truly believe in the vision or they didn't, weren't as passionate about it.
Right.
Them leaving us in the beginning, like, definitely set us back a lot.
Okay.
So I would say that, we kind of rushed into things in the beginning rather than like maybe being a little more patient and finding the best team to start off with.
Right.
But at the same time, this is a very common growing pain with startups.
Exactly.
The team you end up with is almost never the team you start out with.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
that's like a hindsight thing.
Right.
We also had a funding round back, like, I think it was in our fourth year,
Okay.
third or fourth year, implode on us.
Really?
And basically, we were raising about $1 million. Call it a seed round, and we had a VC lead. We had a VC back, like a secondary VC, and then we had a bunch of angels that we aggregated who like committed to invest. And we were pretty close to the $1 million target. It was about 900,000 that was like soft circled committed.
Okay.
And it was a lot of work, but I mean, believe it or not, like, on the day that the lead was supposed to wire funds, like, it just never came.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't get in touch with them for a while. I got very nervous.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, they spoke and they basically, they left us at the altar. They're like, we kind of rethought about this. Like, this isn't like our wheelhouse. We don't know anything about nightlife. Like, we thought you and the team were great, but, we got to back out.
Oh, wow. So they didn't even let you know ahead of time.
Literally the night before the money was supposed to come, one of the partners called me and said, Ian, like, even if you were selling hot dogs, like, we would invest in you and your team.
Oh, wow. So it definitely left you off the altar.
Like, this was the night before, and I was like,
it's like I
walked out. I walked out of our. We were living in some like really crappy apartment in K-Town.
Yeah.
I walked out. I talked to my co-founders. I was like, man, I just got this call. This is what the guy said. Like, wow, we're so loved.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we're so grateful.
Yeah.
And these guys left us at the altar.
Yeah. So bought the wedding ring, but didn't give it to you essentially.
Yeah. And then because they backed out, the secondary VC backed out. All the angels backed out. It just literally.
Domino effect.
Yeah,
domino effect, and like morale was devastated.
Of
like,
course.
I think our whole co-founding team was like, probably clinically depressed for a while.
Yeah.
It was a big blow. That was the closest we've ever been to death.
Right.
As a company, where we like literally talked about, do we give up at this point?
Because emotionally, you guys, that's draining, right?
It was I'm pretty confident it was the lowest point of my life.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, hey, like, what about those hot dogs?
I said that. Yeah, I was like, you told me. Yeah, what about the thing about the hot dogs? It was so whack, dude. I can't believe that actually happened. But yeah.
So what advice would you give to a kid or someone that wants to be in your position or wants to build an app like Discotech or any other application, right? What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah. The real advice, and I also give this advice when I speak at like UCLA's like business school to like the entrepreneurship class or to USC as well, is like you gotta make sure you're really in it, right? Like these things take a long time. Like ignore those things you read about, like companies making it from like 0 to like $1 billion at a time. Like companies take a long time, right? And there's a lot of suffering along the way. I know too, not just from my own anecdotal experiences, but because I know lots of founders now. Like you network, you meet people, and the stories in general are more like stories of pain than anything else. And even the success stories have a lot of pain along the way.
And if anything, they're probably using public relations later when they made it to make it sound like it's always like an easy road.
Yeah, it's very like rose tinted, like looking backwards.
Gotcha.
But you got to pick something you're passionate about because if you're not going to survive. Right? Like you're just not going to make it to the pros if you don't love what you're doing. And then the second is like, I also just wouldn't jump into anything too quickly. Like do your research. Like make sure things are well planned out. Study like the unit economics, right? Study the competitive landscape. Like do your homework, right? This is a big investment financially, emotionally, in every way. A lot of sacrifices are involved. So it's like make sure this is like you're really passionate and like you have a good plan and have some kind of backup because 90+% of like companies don't make it.
Right. So like with Uber and Lyft, right? They receive resistance, from the existing taxi industry. Has Discotech? Have you guys clashed with anyone in the industry? And if so, like how do you not clash with the club themselves?
Yeah, so it's definitely gotten better since I've joined, just because we've been able to establish ourselves more in this space. But I mean, yeah, we still clash with, I would say, is our single biggest competitor, which is an army of individual human promoters.
Yeah, right.
You know, just like taxi drivers were livid when Uber and Lyft first came out in the scene, like a lot of these promoters, like they want us dead, they want us gone. You know, sometimes they're still slandering our name, saying like, "Oh, Discotech's not legit" or whatever, right?
Right.
But you know, any industry that's ripe with competition, such as ours, like that just comes with the territory.
Right.
On our end, we've just tried to be, you know, really professional about it, become easy to work with. So, you know, we're just trying to continue fighting the good fight. You know, keep and develop really professional relationships, and just, you know, keep going. Like, we're here to stay, for sure.
I would add that one thing that we've built more recently is we've created a very broad affiliate program.
Okay.
So rather than working against, you know, our competition, we have a way of bringing them into the fold, right? So a lot of human promoters, they might have like a deal or a contract with, you know, a club or two, or if they're a really big promoter, maybe they'll work with a bunch of clubs in a given city like LA or New York.
Right.
But very few promoters have the relationships that we have. We're in 60 plus cities, we're international, 1,400 clubs, whatever. We empower them to actually monetize on their clientele.
Okay.
So for example, you are a big promoter in LA, but you have customers going to Vegas or Miami or New York. They can book through the Discotech affiliate portal and make commission through us.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're basically working, and
Working
you're also
together.
you're also giving them a commission too, right? So
Yeah.
a paycheck.
50-50 split commission.
Actually, that's pretty that's pretty good.
It's pretty good considering we make like 10%, right? You send like a $2,000 table, it's $200 commission. You know, we get 100, they get 100.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's easy money.
Yeah,
right?
It's easy money for them, and you know, they without us, they would have really struggled to get that commission.
Right. So based off, you know, I guess playing along that question, so do you find, I guess, clubs naturally supportive or against you guys? Because you guys are kind of, I guess, beating against their natural way of booking tables, right? Their native way.
Yeah, it's definitely both. You know, I would say like on one hand, you have like really big mega clubs such as in Vegas, where like these clubs are so big, it's hard for them to fill their venues. So they need an army of, you know, hosts, promoters, third-party companies like us to help fill their venue. So like in that regard, a lot of these companies are super appreciative that we're able to bring in such high volume of clientele and, you know, good, you know, high spending customers. But on the flip side, like, you know, nightlife is very fragmented. So like there's a ton of like mom and pop clubs in like a Houston or Cleveland or, you know, smaller cities where, you know, for whatever reason under the sun, they just don't want to work with us. Whether they, you know, sell out every single night or they don't want to pay out commission, or they already have like their own internal team. Like they just, you know, tell us to kick rocks. So that's been more difficult. But overall, I think, you know, working with these venue partners has been, you know,
On
pretty
the
smooth.
positive end.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Ian, so with coronavirus that came up, right, and kind of changed the way we live and how we operate, right? How have you guys changed your business models? And also on top of that, do you have any other events planned because of it?
So we've tried a few things, like small pivots. So we tried doing live stream events, you know, more digital stuff. But the reality is it's just very hard to make money on this, right? Like even the artists who are putting on these shows are just like relying on donations. So it's been very challenging. For us, we do believe in the long term that nightlife and partying outdoors will come back. Like human nature and desires like have not changed. And we've seen in markets that have reopened that people are like roaring to go out. Like people are frustrated. They want to party.
Yeah, cabin fever for sure.
Yeah. So we believe that at some point things are going to return. For us, it's really playing the medium and long term game, right? Stay lean, survive, continue to work on things that we can do. So we're continuing to invest in our technology, our product, right? These are things that will benefit us, you know, forever. We're continuing to invest in our SEO marketing, you know, one of the main ways that we grow. And we're trying to come up with ways that we can be like relevant for this whole COVID situation. How can we make it so that customers, when clubs and concert venues start opening again, how do we keep them safer, right? And some ways we're doing that, for example, is we're making an ability for people to filter by outdoor or open air venues, right? So it's just safer because it's outdoors. Or contact tracing. So if we know that you were at a venue on a certain date, and if we discover that there was a risk of exposure or like an outbreak at that event, we can contact our users, let them know via text or email, like, hey, you might want to get tested.
Right.
It's the responsible thing to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, that's
Yeah.
actually really smart.
Right now, a lot of venues, especially in Vegas, the only way they're allowed to open is because they've labeled themselves as a restaurant, so that they serve food and they're open air with an outdoor patio.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the loophole that they use to be able to stay open.
Right. The
So
pool
now
parties,
that
right?
yeah, so now that like we add this filter, our customers can see like, oh, okay, like these venues are COVID safe compared to ones that aren't.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the best moment so far at Discotech's journey?
Yeah, I honestly can't think of a single best moment.
Right.
There are a lot of like losses and a lot of wins, and you try to celebrate them along the way. I'm really proud of the team we've built. Like, people are very passionate. Like, we're a family here, and I think we enjoy what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that in the beginning, like the very early days, one of the biggest moments was when we signed up like our first big like conglomerate, which was SBE here in LA. Basically made the pitch to them, showed them like our demo app. This was before we were even live on the App Store. And they're like, you know what? Like, stop talking. Like, I've had this idea myself. I just never went and built this app, but like, yeah, we'll work with you.
Okay.
And this was like 10 clubs back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember like calling my co-founders at the time, like, yo, we just signed up like a bunch of clubs, and we're like, oh shit, like, let's do that.
Yeah.
That was actually the impetus for us quitting our full-time jobs and then like going all in on Discotech.
Yeah, because honestly, like probably at that time in age, like, you're thinking about the long term, as in like getting married, buying a house, car payments, all of that, right?
That gets pushed back.
Yeah, that gets
once you do
pushed
the
back.
startup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a huge move and like a huge risk on your part,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So what would you say, I guess, is the best compliment you guys received?
So for me, primarily, like I handle customer support,
Right.
handling a lot of high spending clientele. There's not really like one instance that sticks out, but just like overall. But like I always think about like what Mark Cuban, that quote, it's like the most important part about a business is your customers, because like without customers you don't have a business, right? Being able to service our customers really well. Like I had one customer today who's trying to book a table in Vegas, and like answered all of her questions like very promptly, very succinctly, right? Like called her a couple times, and she wanted to like Venmo me like for a tip.
Do you give it the Venmo tag?
I did, but she hasn't done it yet. I'm waiting.
Oh, that's great.
But like customers will want to like write reviews for us too. Like we have 4.9 stars in the App Store.
Okay.
Over like
Nice.
10,000 aggregate reviews at this point.
Yeah.
You can verify yourself in the App Store. So like we wouldn't have gotten these reviews or gotten here by like being non-transparent
Right.
or baiting and switching customers or doing stuff like that. So I think that is a testament to our ability to provide transparent information and make nightlife much easier, for people.
Okay, great. So we'll jump into this transition where we talk about the different type of photos, right? So you shared with me the Discotech Omnia San Diego photo.
Yes.
Can you talk
That was
about
fun,
that?
Yeah, so Omnia San Diego is one of our best partners. I would say like top 3 out of like all like 1,200 venue partners we have worldwide.
Gotcha.
Whenever we go down there, they're always hooking us up with like the owner's table, which is like right by the walkway, high foot traffic area.
Yeah.
You can see the Jumbotron. And at that period of time, we just had sent them like loads of tables, like maybe at least like 8 every weekend.
Oh, wow.
Plus like hundreds of people on guest list
Yes,
tickets.
yeah.
guesses,
So it's
like-
giving them value. Constant value.
We're basically the sole like reason they're able to fill their club.
Right,
like, so
Oh yeah,
early.
we're one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say so, but
Yeah.
they just want to show their token of appreciation, and they put Omnia welcomes Discotech on the Jumbotron, and like we were all cheering and everyone was looking at us, so it's like a little bit of like fame.
They
if
like
you will,
stopped the
there.
music.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I think they like gave an announcement. It's like
Yeah.
Childsplay's got to go with you guys one time.
Oh, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
When it's COVID safe to
When
party
it's
again.
COVID safe to
When it's
party.
COVID safe to go out again.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this winter retreat you guys went to, the Josh retreat. Let's talk about that photo.
Yeah, so Discotech, we work very, very hard, but we also play very, very hard.
Okay. I love that. I love that.
Yep.
We usually take like a biannual retreat,
Right.
once in the winter and once in the summer. This past winter, we went to Joshua Tree with our team before COVID hit, so it was a much bigger team. But we just kind of, hung out, had some meetings, had some brainstorming sessions, cooked food together,
Right.
ordered food, went hiking, played some drinking games. We played like Rage Cage, a lot of
Right.
beer pong, just like team camaraderie games.
Yeah.
Which really helps with team
I
bonding.
can only imagine. Right.
Yeah. Don't take us on Rage Cage.
No,
Don't take us on.
Okay, we'll see
We'll see,
today.
yeah.
We'll see tonight, right?
Don't do it. Don't reach. Yeah.
Don't reach. I love it. All right. So this last photo shows, your team picture, and you guys are smiling, right? All happy. Can you explain what the photo represents?
Yeah, so this one, if I remember correctly, is our Discotech and Autograph. Autograph's like an EDM DJ.
Okay.
We're really good partners with them. We held like a joint Hollywood Hills party.
Oh, nice.
I think like last summer. It was super dope. Invited a lot of people from the industry, our friends, families, investors. There's like people in the nightlife industry, and had this like huge party and get together, and we were able to take, you know, a team photo with the backdrop of the Hollywood Hills,
Okay.
you know, like our city, like, you know, where Discotech is based.
Right.
But yeah, we like to have fun, and
Right.
we host a lot of events and try to get, you know, our name and brand out there.
Okay, nice. So these last few questions, right? We have a vision at Childsplay with Sam Kim is always dream your wildest dream. So where do you think Discotech will be in 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah, that's a long time.
That
You know,
is.
we haven't even hit our first 10 years yet,
Right.
which I think is a good thing. But, you know, I do think that Discotech will be like the app and solution that people like think about and use when they like go out.
Gotcha.
So like when people are thinking about, you know, going to a club or a pool party or checking out, you know, like a music festival, like a lot of people will be like, hey, like, you know, Discotech it. Or
Yeah.
just like, hey, like,
Discotech.
why are you
yes.
asking me? Like, just use Discotech. You know?
Hashtag Discotech.
Yeah,
I like
mean,
it.
I don't know if it'll be a verb, but just enough. It'll become much more of a household name, at least within the sector that's relevant, right?
Nice.
Like not everyone's into partying or clubbing or music,
Right,
but
right.
those who are in the know will know us.
Great, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you like Discotech to be remembered?
I think just, you know, something that makes like life more convenient.
Okay.
You know, like I think about the apps that I love, right? The ones that I'll actually go and give 5 stars and
Right.
whatnot. It's like Google Maps,
Right.
like Venmo.
Uh-huh.
It's like
The convenience.
Yeah, it's like, but like, yeah, it just makes my life easier. I love those apps. You know, it's changed my life.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if people can be like, wow, I'm so glad there's Discotech, right? Like that's
That'll
great.
make your day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like we save a lot of people like time, which in my opinion is like biggest asset, right? It's like the commodity like you can't get back, right? You can't buy time. A lot of these, you know, people when they're looking for tables or guest lists or anything, they're like, you know, finding a promoter through their friends or calling the club directly or like cold emailing them,
Right.
which is a hassle and it's very time consuming. And we just, you know, democratize it and have it in one centralized app. Like you literally have to press like 2 buttons to book a table at Marquee Nightclub or, you know, Hakkasan, right? Whereas before you had to like deal with sometimes like, you know, shady promoters, right? Or like, you know, dealing with the club is not always the most smooth process. So yeah, time is a, you know, big asset, and we're, you know, saving a lot of people from, you know, spending a lot of time.
So what other projects and events, I guess, do you guys have upcoming for Discotech
Man.
so far?
You know,
Yeah.
with COVID, a lot of things are kind of on the back burner.
Uh-huh.
So, for example, in terms of events, like I think in like a week or two, we were supposed to go to Scottsdale for our summer retreat, which is probably not happening.
Yeah.
Almost certainly not happening.
Okay.
But you know, for us, again, right now, it's stay disciplined, stay productive, stay focused. You know, our time will come, and there's going to be a hard reset in this industry, right? Like some clubs are gone forever. Clubs are coming back. They're going to need help filling those venues, right? Promoters, like our competitors are gone, right? Like a lot have been furloughed. Some have moved on to other industries. Our direct, you know, app and, you know, web competitors, a lot of them have gone out of business, right? So I think there will be a time where the iron is going to be really hot for us to really come in
And ramp up things.
Yeah, solve this problem, right? Frustrated and, you know, confused customers, they're not going to know where to go. They're not going to know who to call. Like Discotech's that solution.
Right.
The venues, you know, our other customers, right? Like, you know, we serve the clubs. You know, how are they going to get the word out to people that they're back open, things are safe, you know, come out again. You know, we want to help them. We want to help our industry recover so that we can all get on and like get back to the dance floor, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen, you know, promoters that, you know, were very prominent in LA, and now they're like posting on Facebook every day. They're like solar panel salesmen, right? So like a lot of them have exited the industry. Like sure, some of them will come back, but it's going to be more difficult. Like a lot of people have already like forgotten about nightlife. So in that way, I think we've distanced ourselves from our main competition. And because of, you know, us being a technology company, we, you know, have funding and runway. We've been able to survive and really, you know, gear up for, you know, when clubs do open, right? Because like a lot of clubs are closing, but the majority of clubs are still going to reopen, right? Like people need an outlet, people need a party, and nightlife is, you know, the main source of that. So it's not like nightclubbing and, you know, nightlife's going to disappear forever. So we'll be there when, you know, things come back.
Well, I appreciate you two joining today, and Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
thanks,
great.
Sam.
Thanks,
Yeah,
yeah.
thanks.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great.
All right.
And you can find Discotech merchandise at store.discotech.me/ download their app at Google Play Store and Apple Store at Discotech. And yeah, thank you guys for joining again. Next time you want to party with Discotech. Woo! Woo! Part 2, the skit. I'm with Discotech. Now we're about to do all different types of drinking games. Now George is going to explain the rules.
Very easy game. The first game that we're gonna play is 3 versus 3 beer pong. It's an alternative version, kind of unconventional, but there's no turn taking, right? It's 3 versus 3. You partner up with someone on the opposing team. When you shoot, if you miss it, they get to shoot. But when I shoot and if I make it, they have to hold the cup. You have automatic re-racks, 15 cups, a lot more than usual. Let's get it going, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Take some practice.
It's called the bitch cup, so I have to keep my pants on until I hit another cup. Yeah, just keep your pants off.
So we re-rack into a pyramid.
Okay. I'll help you with that. If you landed though, I'm not like it. Alright, fill in the game.
Come on, let's go. One more.
It's like 80%.
Oh, Jake.
Welcome back. Alright, Jesse, you're ready to drink.
So whenever someone hits the last count, we shoot the ice. So all of us shoot one more time. If we make it, your partner does not get rebuttal.
Oh, okay. Fair. Alright, makes sense. Fair.
So we're gonna all shoot all.
Nice. Need that rebuttal. Good defense, Jesse.
How does it feel to win?
You guys did really well for your first game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, you guys did.
How does it feel to win?
Well, I feel really, really good. Like this
Partners
is
and climbs. Okay, go ahead.
What'd you say?
Partners and climbs.
Oh, that's a great shirt. Free solo, El Captain. That's me. You see that? No.
Got it. Bye-bye. How does it feel to lose?
All right, pour him out. I'm ready.
We lost.
You lost?
Yeah, but cheers. Cheers to us losers. I lost, but I won though.
Where's your disco? Down, drink.
All right, we're playing Rage Cage now. After you take a shot, you bounce it in, you bounce it first, and you make it in the cup the first try. You can pass it anywhere, but if you make it on your second try or more, you pass it to your left. Let's start. Here you go. Straight to the left.
You got your ball?
Yeah, where's your ball?
Get him. Yes. Oh, do it again. Yeah, Jake. Got him, coach. In the cage.
Get him in the cage.
Oh, Jake. In the cage. Sam, I told you.
This is hilarious. Jesse, oh my god, I'm so full. Oh, I gotta knock that out. That's not really. No, it's straight.
Pass it anywhere.
Dude, Jake knows what's
Hey,
up.
Jesse.
Oh,
Hey.
second. Jesse. 2.
Oh, yeah,
Get him, Jesse. Get him.
that was a dirty one, bro.
Jake is really good. I have to get him now.
Good.
Jesse's coming.
Earthquake. Shit.
Jake knows not to pass to me anymore.
Oh, shut it. That sucks.
Jake, who's gonna drink first? You or me, Jake?
you, bro.
Definitely not me.
Another shot. Side bet.
Side bet shot. Okay.
Side bet shot.
Oh, Sam! Oh!
Easy money sniper. You can't use a backboard like that, Sam.
I like that. You guys give us.
Sam, you can't use a backboard like that.
Energy. I like that energy.
Yeah, they're trying this side.
Oh my god!
Oh my god. Oh, there we go.
Get away from me.
I'm waiting.
Go back.
You got this. Go.
I can check our policy right now. Get it over here.
Oh my god, Jay! Hey!
Wait! Oh shit!
Give him! Joe, watch out for that last cup, though. Come on.
Oh shit!
Get George. Get out of here.
He's in shambles now. He's in shambles.
Good.
Good.
Oh, I don't like this.
Dude,
You gotta hurry. The last cup.
Yeah, good call.
Give Jake one. Give Jake one.
Yeah, I ain't drinking tonight, homie.
Jake, you fucking
Get him!
Yes. Go. Let me go. Oh, game time.
Here we go. Why did you give it to anyone?
Oh, give Jake. This is time.
I should have waited for the last cup.
Oh no, he already drank to death.
I think that's it, dude. Look at the bubbles. I think that's it. Well, that favorite shirt.
He's never drinking a 10th cup. He said, tonight's the night. True lives ever. No, he owes you that side bet, though. Yeah. Let's put it shots. Shots. That was good. That was fun.
Hey, you guys. I got ready. Good playing. I like your shot. Keep the ball on their side. Keep it away from us.